We're going to talk about Spanish Wells. It's a little known community on the island, little known to those outside of the island. Those that are here on the island understand what Spanish Wells is. Spanish Wells is a deep water community. It has a peninsula. The road on it is called Brams Point. That the houses that are on that peninsula have deep water from the Calibogue Sound on one side and Broad Creek on the other. They literally have water views from both sides of their house. They're amazing. Spanish Wells is more of an estate community, so you have large houses, large lots, deep water docks. We're talking about the person with just boatloads of money that wants a massive house, wants to be on the water, wants their huge boat in the backyard off of their dock. This is what Spanish Wells provides. What Spanish Wells doesn't provide is really a club, private community setting. So there is a club, but it is a little bit generic. There is golf, but it is very generic. There is tennis, but it's not on the grand scale that you see in some of these other communities here on the island. So it's really an interesting community of very, very wealthy on the water and young, up and coming with reasonable incomes off of the water, and a couple of offshoot communities and neighborhoods that look more like a traditional stick-built, like Ryan or Envy or Lennar type community. It is where I find that most of my son's friends live, so we have younger communities there. It just doesn't appeal to the retirement community because there just aren't as many events and activities, and it's just not set up for that retirement community. Just inside of the gate of Spanish Wells, you've got the Spanish Wells Clubhouse. When I say clubhouse, it is a building with a restaurant, a building with a banquet room that can be reserved. The restaurant Holbrook Grill is open 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday. So it is not what you would think of as a clubhouse. There's no pro shop. It is a very down and dirty clubhouse. It does sit right on Broad Creek. It is a beautiful backdrop to water. There is a pier that extends out into deep water. So that pier is essentially used, it's a private pier. So there is a gate on the pier that you need to know the code to be able to get through the gate. At the end of the pier, there is a dock, a covered dock that will house a few different boats, as well as allow for fishing, crabbing, swimming off of the dock. So it really is just a small community dock. It is by no means a marina, and it is just a dock to be able to strap your boat to for whatever reason, to throw some stuff on. If you don't happen to have one of the deep water houses and you live in Spanish Wells, this will allow you to bring your boat, bring your stuff, and hop on. That being said, the clubhouse sits right off of that dock. Has a beautiful scenery out the back, has a nice patio, has a fire pit. So it's got some really nice amenities. It's just not an upscale clubhouse. As far as fees for the community go, fees, number one, are optional. So you don't have to belong to the club. You don't have to belong to the golf course. You don't have to belong to the swimming pool or the tennis facilities. So those are optional. If you're going to belong, your initiation fee is $3,000 to get into the club and set up your membership. Once you're in, $275 a month is going to be your dues. If you just want a social membership, you don't want to golf, you don't want tennis, that's $95 a month. And then there is a restaurant minimum if you are a club member of $20 a month. That is lunch at the club once a month. So really very minimal with regard to club fees, club dues. And again, what's really awesome is it's optional. So if you're not going to take advantage of any of that stuff, you don't need to join the club. If you've watched the video for this long, it'd be really nice if you subscribed. And if you want to hit that bell and know when some of these videos are coming out, that would be awesome too. What that does, it allows me to get the message about Hilton Head Island out to more people. The more that subscribe, the more popular this channel becomes, the more I'm going to be recognized and be put to the top of some search lists and allow people to see what's going on and allow people to learn a little bit more about the island. So if you like what you see, I really appreciate you subscribing. If you don't like what you see, sorry, I'll try to do better next time. One of the most impressive parts of Spanish Wells, and really what everybody sees and talks about when it comes to Spanish Wells, is the peninsula that Brams Point Road creates. If you look at the Google Maps, you can see that this peninsula has deep water on both the front and the back of these houses. So every one of these houses along the peninsula, literally out of both sides of the house, you can see deep water. Not only are you waterfront, but you're water back as well. So it is just some of the most magnificent home sites here on the island, and these homes are absurd. This is where the wealthiest of the wealthy have their homes here on the island, because it gives you the option again to dock your boat on one side, to have a beach on the other. Just some of the nicest real estate that you're going to find when it comes to waterfront here on the island. What makes Spanish Wells, in my opinion, one of the cooler neighborhoods is that not only do you have the estate side, but just outside of Spanish Wells, you've got a number of communities that are more traditional stick-built by one builder, typical of what you would see from a Ryan or an Envy or a Lennar type home. Those homes are at reasonable prices. They look nothing like what you're going to get on Brams Point and inside of what would essentially be proper Spanish Wells. But just outside, you have a number of affordable communities starting in the 4s to 5s that allow a lot of families to be in Spanish Wells. I've added the website to Spanish Wells to the comments. There you can look up all the information that I just gave you. I'm sure I've missed some. It's where I've got most of my information from. So take a look. If it's something that interests you, all the information is there on the website.